All right, evaluating functions. So what we have here is our function h of t equals the absolute value t plus 2 and then plus 3. What we want to do here is we want to find h of 6. So how to do this is we're going to say h of 6 equals, and then anywhere that this variable t, anywhere that we find the variable, we're just going to replace with the number here, whatever's in our function here. So in this case, h of 6. So we're going to say that h of 6 equals the absolute value of 6 plus 2 and then plus 3. Okay, so h of 6 equals the absolute value 6 plus 2, that gives us 8 plus 3. Okay, h of 6 equals the absolute value of 8 is just 8 plus 3. So h of 6 equals 11. All right, next problem. G of a equals 3 raised to the 3a minus 2. So once again, what we want to do is find g of 1. Okay, so basically we're going to plug it in. It's going to look like this. G of 1 equals. Now wherever this variable a, wherever we find this variable a, okay, we're going to replace it with the number 1. That's how these functions work. So we're going to have 3 raised to the 3 times 1 minus 2. So g of 1 equals 3. Okay. 3 times 1, that's just 3. Minus 2, 3 minus 2 gives us 1. So g of 1 equals 3 raised to 1. So we're going to say g of 1 equals 3. All right, w of t equals negative 2t plus 1. We want to find w of negative 7. Okay, here's something that I like to do when you run into these negative numbers and you're doing your functions. So we're going to say we're looking for w of negative 7. And this thing that I like to do is I like to put wherever this variable is, I like to put it in parentheses. So it kind of is going to look like this. Negative 2 times negative 7 plus 1. See, I just took this variable t and replaced it with negative 7. Okay? So it helps to put these parentheses here like this so you don't make any mistakes. So we have w of negative 7 equals negative 2 times negative 7. That gives us a positive 14 plus 1. So w of negative 7 equals 15. All right, g of x equals 3x minus 3. So here we're going to find g of negative 6. So g of negative 6 equals 3. And then once again, we want to kind of use these parentheses like this so we don't make any mistakes. Okay, this is being multiplied. This is 3 times x. So when I put these parentheses, it represents that these two are being multiplied together. Okay. So we have g of negative 6 equals 3 times negative 6. That gives us negative 18 and then minus 3. So g of negative 6, we're going to say that equals negative 21. All right, h of n equals negative 2n squared plus 4. We're going to find h of 4. So we have h of 4 equals, say, negative 2 times 4 squared plus 4. Okay, once again, I just really want to point out that wherever we have these variables, okay, our variable n, okay, we're replacing it with the number 4. So what we want to do is we want to put these parentheses around. Wherever the variable, wherever we're working with, you want to put these parentheses around to keep you from making mistakes. So here we have h of 4 equals, okay, our order of operations says that we need to do exponents before we do multiplication. So we're going to do this exponent first. So we have negative 2 times 16 plus 4. So h of 4, we're going to say that equals negative 32 plus 4. Okay, so h of 4 equals negative 28. All right, h of t. Find h of negative 2. So we have h of negative 2 equals, okay, we're going to say that's negative 2 times 5. Okay, now I want you to see this here. Okay, we're solving h of t. Here it says negative t minus 1. Okay, so this negative sign, remember, we're just replacing this variable t. Okay, we're just replacing t. What are we replacing it with? With a negative 2. Okay, so just t. We're not doing anything here. So this little minus sign stays there. Okay, it's going to look like this. Okay, see, we just replaced this t with a negative 2. And that minus sign, here's that minus sign. Okay, here's our variable t, here's our negative 2. So now we're going to say h of negative 2 equals negative 2 times 5. Okay, negative 1 times negative 2, that gives us a positive 2 minus 1. Okay, negative times a negative gives us a positive. So now we have h of negative 2, which that equals negative 2 times 5. 2 minus 1 is just 1, so 5 to the first power. So now we have h of negative 2. I'm going to say that equals negative 2 times 5. Or h of negative 2, we're just going to say that equals negative 10. Here's our final answer, negative 10. All right, f of x equals x squared minus 3x. Find f of negative 8. So wherever there's an x, we're going to replace with negative 8. So we're going to say f of negative 8 equals, here we're going to say negative 8 squared minus 3 times negative 8. Okay, just like I said earlier, what I like to do is put the parentheses wherever there's a variable. Okay, put the parentheses. This way you don't make any mistakes. Okay, you always want to do this with the parentheses. This is very important. Put the parentheses. It will prevent you from making mistakes. Okay, so here we have f of negative 8 equals negative 8 squared. That gives us a positive 64. And negative 3 times negative 8 gives us a positive 24. So we have f of negative 8 equals 64 plus 24. That's going to give us 88. There's our answer. F of negative 8 equals 88. Okay, P of A equals negative 4 raised to the 3A. Find P of negative 1. So we have P of negative 1 equals negative 4 times 3 times negative 1. Okay, we're simply taking our variable, replacing it with a negative 1. Don't forget the parentheses. So here we have P of negative 1 equals negative 4 raised to the negative 3. Okay, now as you recall from your exponent rules, if you have a negative exponent, okay, it means you're going to bring it underneath a we're going to bring it underneath a vinculum. That's just your divisor bar. So here we have P of negative 1 equals 1 over negative 4 cubed. Okay, here's your vinculum. It's just your divisor bar. So if you have a negative exponent, it brings the whole thing underneath. So we have P of negative 1 equals 1 over negative 4 cubed is the same as 4 cubed and then with a negative sign in front. So 4 cubed, that's 16 times 4, that gives us 64. So it's going to be a negative 64. So our final answer equals P of negative 1 equals negative 1 over 64. Okay, I just kind of want to point this out to you, something here, that here with this negative sign, okay, if I have negative 2 squared, okay, I'm going to let you know that that's different from negative 2 squared. Okay, they look similar, don't they? But they're not. Okay, see, this one has these parentheses around it. Okay, this one is saying if you're doing your order of operations, first you have to do the exponent and then you do the minus. Okay, so this is going to be 2 squared is 4, but then that minus sign stays there. So 2 squared, so that this one equals -4. Okay, this is different. Here we're saying let's square -2. So that's -2 times -2. That's going to give us a +4. Okay, in other words, this one here, this -2, this one up top, that's saying -2 times 2. Okay, that's where we get our -4. This one is saying -2 times -2. Okay, that's a +4. Okay, and this is the reason why, this is one of the reasons why that putting these parentheses around your variable when you're plugging it in, wherever you're plugging in your variable, okay, it's important to put these parentheses because of things like this. Okay, this is an easy way to make a mistake. If you put your parentheses, you won't be making these mistakes. So, in the case of this one here being cubed, if there's a negative sign, it doesn't really make much of a difference because this is an odd exponent. Okay, but when you have something like an even exponent, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, that this makes a big difference. Put in your parentheses, or if you don't have a parentheses out front, you end up getting something different. So these are little things you need to you kind of need to sort out when you're doing this mathematics, when you're learning math, the language of math, that these parentheses, if you see parentheses, if you don't see a parentheses, okay, little things like this are important. So once again, what you need to be taking away from this is that whenever you're doing functions and you have something here, this variable a, I'm replacing with -1, put it in parentheses. Okay, wherever you have this a, you put it in -1, put it in parentheses. Okay, that's going to prevent you from making these mistakes here. Okay. All right, P of t equals 4t minus 5. Find P of t minus 2. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to basically be replacing the variable t. Okay, we're going to be replacing it with this t minus 2. So it's going to look like this. P of t minus 2 equals 4 times t minus 2 minus 5. Okay, we're simply taking our variable t and replacing it with t minus 2. Okay, now doing our distribution, we have P of t minus 2 equals 4 times t, that's 4t. 4 times -2, that's -8, and then minus 5. So P of t minus 2 equals 4t minus 8 minus 5. That gives us minus 13. So there's our answer. P of t minus 2 equals 4t minus 13. All right, g of a equals 4a. Find g of 2a. So here we're going to be looking for g of 2a. I'm going to say that equals 4. Okay, there's our variable a, so we're going to replace that with a 2a. Okay, so g of 2a equals 4 times 2a. That's going to give us 8a. And there's our answer. G of 2a equals 8a. All right, w of n equals 4n plus 2. Find w of 3n. So here we have w of 3n equals 4 times 3n plus 2. See, once again, we're taking our variable, we're replacing it with 3n. Okay, make sure you put these parentheses. So now we have w of 3n. We're going to say that equals 4 times 3n. That gives us 12n plus 2. And there's our answer, 12n plus 2. All right, w of a equals a plus 3. Find w of a plus 4. So it's going to look like this. W of a plus 4 equals a plus 4 plus 3. Okay, so w of a plus 4 equals a plus 4 plus 3. Okay, that's just a plus 7. So there's our answer, a plus 7. All right, h of x equals 4x minus 2. Find h of x plus 2. So we're going to be taking this variable x and replacing it with x plus 2. So we have h of x plus 2 equals 4 times x plus 2 minus 2. Okay, once again, I'm going to keep repeating this because it's really important. Wherever you find this variable, when you're replacing it with whatever's in your function here, that you need to be using these parentheses. Okay, so h of x plus 2 equals, now here we're just going to do distribution. So we have 4x plus 8 minus 2. So h of x plus 2, we're going to say that equals 4x plus 8 minus 2. That's going to give us 4x. 8 minus 2 is a positive 6. So 4x plus 6 is our answer. All right, here's our function k of a. We want to find k of a minus 2. So k of a minus 2 equals negative 4 raised to the 3, a minus 2 plus 2. So k of a minus 2 equals negative 4 raised to the, let's see here, we're going to do our distribution again. So raised to the 3a, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, and then plus 2. Okay, here's our 3a, here's our negative 6, and this positive 2 just kind of comes down. So here we have k of a minus 2 equals negative 4, okay, raised to the 3a, negative 6 plus 2, that gives us a negative 4. So here's our answer, negative 4 raised to the 3a minus 4. All right, g of n equals n cubed minus 5n squared. Find g of negative 4n. So we have g of negative 4n. So wherever there's an n, we're going to replace it with negative 4n and put parentheses. So it's going to look like this. Negative 4n cubed minus 5 times negative 4n squared. Okay, once again, putting the parentheses. Wherever there's variable n, putting the parentheses. Okay, then this squared and this cubed stays on the outside of the parentheses. All right, so we have g of negative 4n equals, okay, if you remember that if you have a, b cubed, that equals a cubed times b cubed. Okay, basic algebra, so that's what we're going to be using here. Negative 4, we're going to say that's a, n, we're going to say that's b. So what it looks like is we're going to have negative 4 cubed times n cubed. Okay, same thing with this over here. We have negative 5 times negative 4 squared times n squared. Okay, once again, that's just your a times b squared equals a squared times b squared. Okay, we're simply taking a and b and replacing it with negative 4 and n. Here's your a, here's your b, here's your b. So it turns into like this. So here we have negative 4 cubed, so g of negative 4n. Negative 4 cubed, that gives us negative 64. N cubed, of course, is just n cubed. Then we have minus 5 times negative 4 squared, that gives us a positive 16. And then n squared is just n squared. Okay, last thing we got to do is just multiply this together. So here we have g of negative 4n equals negative 64n cubed. Negative 5 times 16 is negative 80n squared. So here's our answer. G of negative 4n equals negative 64n cubed minus 80n squared. Alright, I want to thank you for watching this video. You made it to the end. Please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. If you want to see more of these, simply subscribe to my channel for more videos.